As we welcome you into studio here for Warriors Post-Game Live, presented by Toyota. Grant Liffman, the two Hall of Famers, Chris Mullin, Jennifer Azzi, and what's that joke you were just saying just a second ago? I just put you on the spot. What's that joke you had?
What's that?
You remember that? Yeah.
All-time scoring combos?
Yeah.
Well, I go back to Al Attles, the great Al Attles,
right,
combined with Wilt Chamberlain for 117.
Right. Al
Attles went 8 for 8, 1 for 1 from the line for 17 points.
Heck of a game.
And that was a huge combination. And you said?
And then I said Draymond Green combined with Steph Curry for 63 points.
Dynamic duo.
Dynamic duo.
But what a show. You talk about adjustments. Steph Curry just put on a show tonight.
It was just right out the gate, and he was just on fire, Jennifer.
Well, I don't know why I still go, wow. It's because he's been doing this, and he took over the game. It's interesting, people that wanted to give, Kerr some flack, it's players that win, and it's players that win championships. And so he just came out tonight, and he flat out dominated.
So you're saying his legacy is intact. Way to bring that up, Grant.
Are we allowed to just not talk about the legacy anymore?
No, keep talking about it. It brought out 62 tonight. But what's really impressive was, look, the scout report for Steph Curry, Dame Lillard, C.J. McCollum is take away the three ball, right? You want to live with their twos.
Yep.
But tonight, and most nights, Steph, he has the whole package. But he was finishing shots all over the court. For a while there, he only had like 4 or 5 made threes.
Yep.
So he's getting to the line, making tremendous moves. And I just thought there was a concerted effort and a better flow where when he gave the ball up, they were looking to get it back to him. Even on that last play when he got 62, Draymond waited for him to give him the ball back. He knew the ball was coming back to him, and it was a much better flow to the offensive game tonight. 62
points for him. Passes 60 by this guy, Klay Thompson. Sheesh! Stephen Curry, welcome to the club, big bro. Number 62, and the GOAT symbol. You got to throw the GOAT on there as well. Though Klay, if you want to tweet it out, you could say you did it in 3 quarters. Steph had to go all the way to the 4th quarter. It was just a tremendous, tremendous effort, and it had, had that feel of that Garden game when he had 54, but in that game they lost. This one they won, and Steph Curry just carried them.
Well, he had a good supporting cast tonight, too. I mean, as much as, we had 4 players in double figures, 5?
Yeah.
So it wasn't, he had a lot of scoring, but to your point, he got the ball back in the offense, and all the other players played their role and played it really, really well, especially Wiseman, first double-double.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to talk about him for sure. We're going to talk about the defensive adjustments. We're going to talk about all these things. But before we do that, Molly, we got to look at the games that Steph has scored over 50 now 7 times. And you can see that one tonight, 62. But the Garden one is the one, when we show highlights of Steph Curry in his career, a lot of times they point to that Garden game, and we can look back on it on February 27, 2013. And, hey, look at that Draymond Green guy passing the ball right there. Different cast of characters there, but besides Draymond, but got it done.
But it just shows you, like, there's no place better to do it than in Madison Square Garden on Broadway. But you know what? Empty gym, it doesn't matter. This guy comes ready.
Exactly.
And a lot of things are impressive about Steph Curry, but moving on into his 30s now, his fitness level and his ability to play big minutes, drive the ball, finish over big players, get to the free throw line, and just do it from start to finish. I mean, this was an incredible performance. We've seen it before. It never gets old.
Well, I think I might have been most impressed with that tonight, too, is him getting to the free throw line and attacking the rim like I don't think he's ever done before. So it was very impressive all the way around.
He's getting knocked down a lot.
A lot.
He was ending up on the floor a lot, and, which is great to see when he gets to the line, but at some point you can't have him just getting beat up consistently like that. He doesn't have the frame necessarily to be beat up like that all the time.
And look, with 62, Steph made all the shots and all the adjustments, but I just felt like offensively, as they were doubling him, the screeners were moving up as well. So when he got by that first line of defense, he had space to operate. And this was just a great drawn-up play by Steve Kerr.
Oh, yeah.
Rolling over.
Damon Lee rolls
fall
it,
down.
Fumble Ruski, throw it on the ground, and then, just make a shot. Everything was just working in that way, right?
But again, Draymond Green, I thought in the first half, really got that defense aligned. I thought the guards and the backcourt had a lot of confidence because they felt Draymond and Wiseman's presence behind them. And I thought offensively, he really organized the team where you saw a lot more plays that you're used to seeing where Steph gives it up. He goes head on the basket and comes back out and gets the ball. I thought the screening was better. just overall great adjustments. You know, it's the first time they've played back-to-back in this new system. I thought it was an incredible bounce-back game for them. Good job by the players. Great job by Steve Kerr and his staff.
And the other thing that you were mentioning, Jennifer, is that they weren't playing where it's hero ball, where Steph Curry's just doing his thing. It was actually within the flow of the offense. And as you were saying, they give the ball up, get it back. They're setting the right screens. The ball was moving around a little bit. It was the best movement we've seen on offense so far this season. Which
is remarkable. You'd think a 62-point performance would be just, okay, he's just a stud, right? And he is. But it was within team concept. It was amazing.
And defensively for Portland, right? They're obviously the key was to try and control Steph. But when you have three other players, and Andrew Wiggins has been great since those first two games. He's been very consistent. Kelly Oubre tonight was very good offensively. And then Wiseman, he had his first double-double. So just from a natural defensively, you start worrying about other players as well. Right? So those double teams, they're not as aggressive because you worry about getting back to your man. But the chef was cooking tonight.
You know, here's a stat for you. Look at this one. Steph Curry is the second oldest player in NBA history with a 60-point game, only behind Kobe Bryant, who did it on the final game of his career. I'll never forget that. Remember, that's also the same game, same day when the Warriors won their 73rd game that season, when Kobe Bryant went for 60 in his final game. And Steph Curry also set the single-season record.
There's that guy, Wilt.
400. Your guy. Steph Curry hit the 400 mark on three-pointers in that game as well. But, yeah, I mean, Wilt Chamberlain, that's a pretty good list to be on, don't you think? Wilt, Kobe, you know. I would like to be on the list, but unfortunately I'm not.
That's part of his legacy, which is intact.
You need to be on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, you can say these things. Everyone will give like a like or like a little fire
dislike
emoji
or whatever.
Or something.
No.
Yeah, okay. But when we look at it, he was opening up the whole bag of tricks on this one, right? He was shooting from long range. He was coming off screens. He was doing off the ball. He was doing on ball. He was also doing the mid range. He was going to a floater game. He was going to the. He did it all. One thing definitely of note is we talked about this at the end of the first quarter. They had a 2-for-1, and normally Steph just pulls up, right? This time he went to the hoop, so he was just so locked in.
Oh, he was so locked in, and just more aggressive, I think, than I've maybe ever seen him. And it was a little bit of a different style for him. But you're right, he did everything tonight. Yeah, no, and you know, if you look at the numbers, it's not like his teammates made an incredible amount of shots from deep either. So they did struggle, missing some open shots again. But the players did what they needed to do to get into transition. And again, we're going to talk about the defense later, but the defense definitely helped them get Steph in rhythm as well. Absolutely, and even if Oubre can knock down, I mean, he hit that corner three.
Right.
If he can occasionally knock those down, that's going to change everything too.
Absolutely.
They got contributions from multiple players, and then statistically, you're not going to say Draymond Green, but he had 8 assists, right? So that helps the offense move. And Steph Curry, he's one of the most unique players we've ever seen in the history of basketball because he's a high percentage, high effective field goal shooter from three-point all over the court. He's also a scorer.
Right.
He can do both, and that's what he did tonight. He made threes, he made layups, he got fouled, he got to the free throw line. He showed the full package that he's always had, but very rare do you see a guy that there's a shooter and a scorer, and he does it all, and his ball handling, which is just incredible.
Right, and we've broken it down, everything you've needed to hear, but let's just hear from one other guy. How about that? Reaction right now. Let's go back to Chase and hear from Steve Kerr.
What does it mean to see Steph Curry set a new personal record and also a new building record?
Well, it was just a brilliant performance, and you know, we've seen Steph do so many things here over the years, so many amazing nights at Oracle and now here at Chase, and it's just a privilege to coach him. It really is, you know, and not just because of his talent, but just because of the way he carries himself, the way he leads, and we are incredibly blessed as an organization to have Steph leading the way, and what a performance tonight.
Because of kind of like the growing frustration around the early season and some of the online chatter, I mean, did you sense this coming from Steph? Did you sense a really aggressive game like this coming?
Well, I had a feeling it was coming pretty quickly because he's looked great from the start of camp physically, but you know, he's barely played basketball the last year and a half. And I guess that must have been his 10th game or so, and since the 19 finals. So it was just a matter of rhythm and getting his legs underneath him and finding his offensive groove. And you could see it coming. He's had little spurts during games where it looked like he was about to break through, and so it didn't surprise me. I mean, 62 is surprising, but didn't surprise me that he broke through tonight and really got going.
Steve, I'm guessing you weren't going to be able to keep him out of there in the fourth quarter, even if you wanted to, right? Or what was your plan down the stretch there for his minutes?
Well, we put him in, a minute early. We like to keep him out till the 6-minute mark, and obviously Portland was making a great push. So we put him in, I think, at the 7-minute mark, and I was hoping we could, maybe get him out with a few minutes left if we could extend the lead and get him some rest because we play tomorrow. But obviously Portland stayed in it. So we just kept Steph out there, and he kept knocking down shots and free throws and basically closed the game with his offensive performance.
Steve, did you intentionally want Steph getting downhill? It seemed like the screen was higher and he was just attacking. Was that the game plan?
Yeah. And we want to do that all the time. In the fourth quarter in particular, down the stretch, we wanted to make sure we stayed with the Steph Draymond pick and roll. And, we had James down in the dunker spot, which, occupies that center at the rim. So Steph got downhill and Draymond made some great screens and handbacks. And I thought, it was just a solid way to close the game.
Steve, do you have any theory as to why Steph takes the kind of criticism that he takes?
I'm honestly not playing dumb. Does he really take criticism?
Oh, it's constant. Well, it shows up every year, it seems like, at some point. And early this season, because you guys were struggling, I think it was accentuated a bit. And yeah, it's out there. And
you gotta hang on Twitter more, Steve. Come on, Hank.
Yeah, my bad. I'll check out Twitter later. I hope they're saying something good about him tonight.
I suspect they will, but I mean, do you have it, knowing that it's there? Do you have any reason why it would be there, or any theory at least?
I mean, I think if you think about most of the guys who are considered the best players in the league, they're physical freaks of nature. LeBron, Giannis, Anthony Davis, whoever you want to throw in that group. And so, Steph is, 6'3", 180 pounds, whatever he is. And so he has to carry a game with skill. He can't carry a game with physicality and athleticism. So that would be the only thing I could think of that would make people criticize him. It's much harder to carry a team single-handedly, by making 35-footers all day. Same thing with Damian and CJ. Those guys are incredible shot makers. But if you're not 6'8" and 250, you can't really, dominate a game in other ways. So that's probably my best guess as to the criticism.
Not to.
During the break, we'll get Chris Mullen on Twitter so he can read these things too. Also, we'll hear from James Wiseman. We'll break down his game and the adjustments he made, and maybe we'll talk about that Steph guy. Welcome back to Warriors Postgame Live, presented by Toyota, and let's check out the storylines we discussed early on. And we talked about the points. How many points are they going to score? Well, they scored over 130, so if you bet money on that, you are now very, very rich. And we look at the shooting percentages. We were talking about how they were last in the league in all of these things. Well, I mean, in this case, They shot very well from the field, definitely well enough from three. I think that Steph guy helped in that department, as well as free throws, even though Steph did miss a free throw. And we have to bring that up because, you know, he had a good game, but could have been better if he just made that free throw.
One more point. just add one to it.
That's that 1 point. It's shooting-wise, just in general, what did you see the difference taking Steph out of it, just Steph being Steph? What did you see as a difference maker to make them shoot better overall?
Well, I think Draymond being back in his second game, I think the lineup was more solidified. I think they got a nice production from Oubre and Wiggins, who has been playing well. Seems like Pascal's very comfortable coming off and playing the backup five off the bench. He had double figures, 5 of 6, very efficient. And I just thought overall a much more efficient offensive game. The Warriors shot 38%. They only took 34 threes. Yeah. A lot of nights they were up in the mid-40s. So they're not as they're getting better quality shots. And obviously, you know, 56 from the field overall. That's incredible. But I just thought they were probing more. You saw more, not just one pass and shot or just a quick high pick and roll shot. Steph would give it up, get it back. And I thought the contributions across the board were much better.
Yeah, and let's look at the wager that we were talking about earlier with the point total. And earlier tonight, we said if they score over 130 points, that's a plus 700. So if you put $10 down, you just won $70. That's a really, I mean, that's a dinner for a whole family, a really nice place. I don't know, you get to decide
what
you do.
If you put down $100 that Steph got 62?
Oh, man, I'll have to look up the numbers on that. Where were you on that one, storylines?
All right.
But Jennifer, also, when you move in transition, when you're playing better defense, we talked about so much pregame, better defense leads to better offense. Do you think you saw it tonight in that way?
Oh, absolutely. Defense was at another level tonight compared to 2 nights ago. And, you know, offensively, they got the ball in the paint a lot more. And, I mean, even seeing Wiseman post up was nice and Steph attacking. And I think that led to better exterior shooting.
That's a beautiful transition right there to James Wiseman, because I'm glad you said him, because otherwise I was going to have to think of a segue, and I'm glad you did it for me. Yeah. James
Stanford girl.
Oh, that's what it is? Yeah,
that's what it is.
Stanford education. I'm just Cal, you know. The big ticket, that's what he calls himself, at least on the Twitter machine. You should try it sometime. Yeah. James Wiseman, here's his rookie ranks, but tonight it was a different type of game for James Wiseman. He had 12 points, his first double-double. He had 11 boards tonight. But it was really more just, we talked about this. It was 2 days ago, he seemed like a 19-year-old rookie out there, right? Making mistakes, a guy that only played 3 games. And this guy, he seemed almost like a seasoned vet all of a sudden in this game.
Well, it also shows you, I think, how coachable he is. I mean, to go from, you know, kind of a lack of a defensive presence to a great one tonight, and then just seeing how aggressive he was offensively and going to the boards. I mean, but that you can't teach that, what he just did right there.
Well, you see his double-double, 12 points, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks. But the adjustment from game to game was what is really impressive. His IQ, you said his coachability, Jennifer, but also the ability to put it into action just right away. So he was up on screens, right, making it tough, not laying back and giving CJ and Dame easy threes. I thought he did a great job. He's got great hands, right? And also I thought Draymond really helped him out tonight. Just give him, you know, that lob we saw, just get him an easy basket. And he's got a lot of things you can't teach. But the things you need to teach him, he absorbs and he can implement right away.
It was also one of those games where, and you said this while we were watching, you're like, every bucket was an impressive bucket tonight. It wasn't just a little gimme, oh, hey, I'm all alone here. Just either he was throwing down an authority on that lob, but more importantly, he had that one spin move to a dunk. He was using both hands. It was just, he was attacking tonight.
That was incredible. And even hearing Steve on the, you know, the post-game interview say, hey, we put him in the dunker spot some, it's like, that's just a glimpse, I think, of what the future holds for him.
But what that did, too, was now you have Draymond after they double Steph. He's got the ball at the top of the key, say, three-point line. With Wiseman in the dunker spot, it's a threat for that lob, which gives Steph also more space. They got to make a decision. They're going to come get Steph. They're going to, you know, honor the lob with Wiseman. Steph made floaters. He made incredible finishes at the basket all night long and got himself to the free throw line as well. But I just thought the spacing with Wiseman, the dunker, with Oubre and Wiggins being more productive offensively, and then Draymond being the quarterback.
What a segue again. You said Oubre. You guys are you're carrying this. Yeah, I don't know why Bonte always says it's so hard. It's just so easy. Kelly Oubre Jr. tonight. Yeah, he missed some threes, but he also made that corner one. The bench erupted, but ignore the three for a second here. Just in general, his hands were in the passing lanes. He was in transition. He had some monster dunks. I think at some point we're really going to have to focus in on these dunks. I think we're too focused on all these threes, Jennifer.
Maybe so. I mean, but that is impressive. That is athleticism at its best. And you know what I love about him? He's so much energy. He plays with energy. And if he can, again, that was awesome. If he could just do a few of those, yeah, it just changes the game.
It does.
His energy and defensive tenacity has been consistent. And I agree. A missed three is a missed shot. It doesn't matter. We take so many threes now. It's just a missed shot. But he hasn't let that affect the impact on the game. And he always draws the opposing teams either first or second best offensive player. He's been consistent with his defense. His shot will come around. But I agree. Score points. Ones, twos, and threes, they all count the same. Just make shots. And tonight he did. And I thought he had a huge impact when Steph went out of the game, just maintaining that energy. It's important.
Yeah, and it felt like there was a couple plays where maybe he took into traffic and didn't know what he was going to do with it and kind of made his mind up before he. But otherwise, I'd say out of all games, he started to feel a little. It looked like he was a little more comfortable in the offense and the flow of it. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. And this is where I keep going back to. There was virtually no training camp for this team. Right. You know, so it's gonna take them some time. So I'm actually impressed that this happened this quickly. And it was a huge game all the way around. And to have 5 players in double figures and one of them have 62 is really impressive.
You go back to the start of the season, that 4-game road trip. They were much better at game 4. Now, they came back and had a stinker, but that happens. But they tried to get Draymond back in the lineup. We've seen a major improvement from game to game, and that says a lot about the players and the coaches.
Yeah, and they're going to, have to obviously play against Sacramento tomorrow night, but we'll get to that. We'll enjoy this one
let's
before
enjoy
we do
this.
that. Also, we get to hear from Kelly Oubre right after the break. Maybe someone will ask him about that three-pointer he made. Why not? All that's coming up on Warriors Postgame Live, presented by Toyota.
This Sportsnet Central update is presented by the opportunity to be next to him. What goes through your mind?
It's just amazing to watch. He's like I said earlier in this year, he's an anomaly, man. So whenever he does things that are just unheard of or, that you've never seen before, you kind of are just like expecting that at any moment. So I was just happy to be on the same side as him tonight because I know it stung for the other team.
Kelly, you've been around some really good scorers and in your career so far. What's different about Steph, or how does Steph kind of differentiate himself from the other guys who can shoot it that you've been around?
He moves without the ball. He's really well at finding the ball and just continuously just moving. So I salute him for that because that's a skill in itself to constantly work without the ball when you don't have it, especially at the point guard position. So, it's something that he's picked up from all the great shooters out there, and it's working for him really well.
Hey, Kelly from Puerto Rico. How has the return of Draymond Green helped this team?
Great. We kind of have a little more firepower. He's a great leader on the court. He's a great anchor on the defensive end, and he's a great facilitator on offense. So he's kind of putting us in spots and, getting Steph off the ball, which then in turns, confuses the defense. It's been really great to have him back.
Kelly, Kareth Burke, NBC Sports, the area. Is this an example of how interconnected things are? That when Steph has a good game, when the floor is spaced, the shots start to fall for you and Andrews, and James Wiseman has a double-double tonight. Does the success of one start to translate to the success of all 5 on the floor?
We're just finding our groove slowly but surely. So as you can see, Steph found his groove to the max. And then, me and Wiggs kind of just sprinkled in slowly after that. But James, he's still finding his groove, his footing, in this league. And I know I've been able to be in this league for like 6 years. So I understand that I got to keep pushing. Wiggs understands that he has to keep pushing and just finding his groove. And, it's one thing that we have to all bring to the table in order to be a great team and reach our full potential. So I'm understanding that we all have to play and step up.
Does this game feel like one of those examples of team cohesiveness taking a big step together?
Yeah, it does. You know, like we were going back and forth with the Trailblazers, and we were all on the same side. You know, we were all fighting together, and, you know, we were connected more. So I feel like this is a great step in that direction.
Kelly, Steve Kerr said that he had a sense that maybe one of these games were coming for Steph. Based on what you've seen in practice and things like that, did you get a sense that maybe something like this was about to happen?
And I expect these things, so it's really something that it's just kind of normal because we're playing with one of the greatest shooters of all time. So you kind of just understand that these type of nights are due. So.
What does that version of Draymond give you guys defensively?
Like I said earlier, it gives us that leadership and that anchor, and on the help side and the weak side, you know, somebody to communicate, call out schemes, and, you know, just pretty much tell us where we need to be on the floor, and somebody else to fly around out there and help.
Kelly, Coach Kerr praised you for setting a tone defensively early in this game. How important is that when you've got a matchup with a guy like Dame?
It's important. You know, they have a two-headed snake over there, and it's kind of, you know, it's tough if those two guys keep on. If they find their rhythm early, you know, they'll keep flowing throughout the whole game. So the main focus tonight was pretty much just, you know, maintain, you know, the heads of the snake, and we did that.
Well, they got the heads of the snake on their team. I guess I still had 28 and 32, but the one head of the snake for the Warriors went off, and the tweets have been coming in, right, all night. You got his brother tweeting out, you know, talk about legacy stuff. You got all the players tweeting out all these different things. Let's show this one. This comes from Miles Turner, who Molly warns is actually coming to town anytime soon here. So, bro, I better not ever see no more Steph slander on my timeline. That's what it means, Molly.
Thank you.
Bro, stay shutting people up. Yeah, TL's time, Twitter time. You know, that you can figure it out as we go along. Yeah, we'll get you.
Why capital letters?
You know, it's abbreviation.
Okay.
Hey, come on, that's just great.
Let's give Steph some TLC.
There you go.
Let's go.
This game, though, is worthy of you starting your own Twitter.
Oh, wow.
First tweet.
After that
Steph
finish
Curry,
right there. Yeah.
62.
What do you think? Yeah, that would be your handle.
There's no one more I respect more than Steph Curry, but the Twitter thing's not happening.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Steph,
so,
I love you.
Yeah, it's not happening. Even that
Not
wink,
happening.
look, he's winking at you back because you said that. Absolutely.
I got you back all day.
I don't want to stop talking about Steph Curry because it's fun, and he did a game tonight that I think we deserve to keep on talking about.
I agree.
So what should we talk about next out of Steph Curry? Defense.
Well, you could, but
I mean, making shots mean something?
Yeah, it does.
In the NBA?
offense wins games.
Offense wins championships. Let's go.
Right.
Listen to Bill Walton.
No, but it's also the way that he does it, right? It's his demeanor. It's, you know, one of the things Steve always talks about is just how much joy he has for the game. And you don't generally see a player of that caliber just have that kind of calm demeanor and just have fun. He has fun with everything he does.
The joy comes out. Steve talks about that a lot, the passion, but the dedication to fitness. That takes a lot of energy. 18 of 31, 8 of 16. So he took 16 threes and 19 free throws.
Yeah.
That's activity. And you heard Kelly Oubre, right, who did a great job, and he's been playing much better. When Steph gives the ball up, yeah, he's moving around, but as he's moving around, that's an unselfish play because he's, you know, the defense is still worried about him. As he's doing that, he's opening up opportunities for his teammates. So he does it with and without the ball. He's just a tremendous, incredible, you know, all-time player. But the way he is as a teammate may exceed that, which is really hard to do.
Well, and even you brought up fitness, the way that he moves without the ball, that's one of the things that Oubre said too. He's all over the place, and that takes a lot of energy. You can't move the way that he does and not be in great shape.
And the other thing which was really impressive, they got beat by Portland, they come back and beat them. Portland's one of the better teams in the Western Conference. So now this is a huge step up because they had 2 wins against Chicago and Detroit, 2 teams we feel are going to be out of the playoffs. This is one of the better teams in the Western Conference on a back-to-back, adjustments made. I think you've seen Draymond getting back in form, right? Way more comfortable. I thought his fitness is improving slowly but surely. He had 8 assists. So all the things that Steve has talked about, these things take time, right? I saw a big improvement from Game 1 to Game 4. A little setback in the first game against Portland, but a major step forward tonight.
Yeah, it's about carrying it on, too. And it's going to be a tough task when you go to a back-to-back now after having such a big performance like that. And here, let's go back to Twitter to find out. Seth Curry here. 1 down, 60 more left to determine a legacy.
Okay,
now,
what does that mean?
Okay.
Mr. Twitter?
I knew you were going to
Subtitles?
Okay. So 60, are we referring to 60 more points, or are we saying 60 more games, even though there's 66 more games? It's a very confusing tweet, Seth, and if you're watching right now,
Seth, help us out.
Something else, yeah.
But we know
his
the
legacy is cemented in stone.
Yes.
First ballot Hall of Famer, statue at Chase Center. The tweet, we'll have to turn it over to Granalytics.
Yeah, Granalytics will break that down. I think I got you, Seth. He's saying 60 more games or something to do that.
60 more days.
Yeah, I got him. Yeah, no, of course. The one
he had 62 points, though.
He did. So somehow that factors in. Do you know?
Maybe he tweeted out when he had 60 and he got that last 3.
That's a great point. We'll just write that down. We'll check the timeline of Granalytics on that one. One thing I was thinking during the game is it just would have been so fun for fans to be there to see that performance. Can you imagine?
I would have died to be there.
I know. Can you imagine how crazy everyone would have been going, the elation and everything?
Crazy. Yeah. Like louder than ever.
But that shows what we were talking about, the joy, the passion, the preparation, and the focus. You know, Steph Curry, whether it's in Madison Square Garden or an empty Chase Center.
Yeah.
I'm out there playing.
Well,
doing something I love.
Yeah. He did go to the virtual fans and.
That's true. Dub was going crazy. Let's not say there were no fans there. When you said when Kelly Oubre hit that,
hit the 3,
the Dub Hub fans were just going nuts, and then he was pumping them up and everything. See, the fans were there, in a way. I mean, we got to do it. It's fun. There's so much more to talk about on this show coming up, and we're going to talk about Steph Curry. Maybe we'll hear from him at some point. What do you think?
Be great.
Again?
We did halftime,
Is there enough?
Post-game, post-game.
We'll put him on Warriors Outsiders, too.
We got a cold plunge. He didn't even feel he was so hot. He didn't feel the cold plunge.
I know. Damian poured it on him. It was just Sacktown in the city. Yeah, we have to preview that. Presented by Toyota. Now let's check out the scoreboard. This is a pretty one. Yeah, you can see 137 to 122. But look at Stephen Curry. 62 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. He even passed the ball. Isn't that crazy when you put up 62 points like that? Andrew Wiggins with 21, 7, 2, and 2. So a nice night for him. It was a career high for Steph Curry. And another guy who played really well was the rookie James Wiseman. Let's hear from him right now.
How much did you, I know different positions, but how much did you grow up watching Steph Curry? And then what is it like seeing him cook in person?
It's crazy. It reminded me of 2K because I used to play with Steph all the time and I used to drop like 60. So just like actually watching it personally, that was phenomenal. And he's a legend. So just watching that personally was great. Steph.
You ever drop 62 though with Steph on 2K?
Most definitely. I dropped even more than that, 72. So, like, especially when it went into double overtime. So, most definitely, like, 72, 82. Crazy stats.
Who you playing going into double overtime with 72? Like,
I actually played the Bucks. No, I played the Bucks, and I had it on Hall of Fame. And, like, I had the sliders all the way up. So, Steph made almost every shot, like, when I was coming down. So, yeah.
James, did you hear guys telling Steph his count whenever they could? You know, okay, you're at 54. Or it sounds like he was being reminded at every moment.
I mean, he was making every shot within like 10 seconds that we couldn't even keep up. So, like, we were just over there just cheering him on. But as soon as we looked at the scoreboard and he already had like 55, it was kind of crazy. So I was like, man, he gonna get 60. And, man, just like 2 minutes later, he just got there. So, yeah, it was crazy.
James, it's talk about your welcome to the NBA moment a lot, kind of referring to something that happens against you. But is it almost a welcome to the NBA moment to watch somebody like Steph Curry, for as long as he's been doing this, kind of just do that while you're there?
Most definitely, because it just shows his hard work. I mean, he's a great guy off the court, but like on the court, he just works his tail off every day. And like I witness it and I see it. So it just like motivates me to work hard as well because I want to be in that position. But just see how hard he works just shows like on the court. So, I mean, it's nothing new.
James, it's Rachel Nichols from ESPN. What is it like for you to have gotten to know Steph in this short time? Because as you said, you've been following him and seeing him on TV and hearing his interviews for years. What's different now that you know him?
Very calm and collective. He lead by example, by his play on the court. And he's also a great person. He gives me a lot of encouragement and just stuff on like what to work on, the little details. And he's just a great leader on and off the court.
What's the best thing he's told you to work on?
Just my patience. Just every time I get the ball, just be patient, make sure that I survey the floor before I make a move, and just make sure that I just stay aggressive on offensive boards and on both ends of the floor as well.
Thanks.
Yeah.
James, that was probably your first game working with like a really engaged Draymond Green behind the scenes defensively. How does that aid you when he's back there doing what he did tonight?
I mean, it aids a lot because he gave me different points on where to be on the floor, but also just like on the offensive end, like the only thing I had to do is just run the floor and just be big and just be in the dunker spot and just move around and be very active. And Draymond's seen me every time because he's a great passer. So just having that type of guy on the floor really aids really the whole team because he just has such a great defensive prowess that it just increases everybody's ability to just play defense and just focus. So
he probably erased like 7 different Nurkic, dives to the rim. How much better do you feel jumping out on, Lillard at times when you know that, he might be on the back end basically erasing it?
Right. The first game I had to learn because I was getting in foul trouble quickly, but the second game I kind of caught on to it and just it's all about timing and just repetition. So just like the more reps I got, the more comfortable I got with it. And just like the earlier I came up on the screen, then it was way easier because he didn't get that many downhill drives like that. So just being more patient, just study a lot of film, which I do, being a student in the game, and really just taking it game by game. So
got to get those 2K stats going for Steph Curry as well. He pretty much put up 2K stats tonight. We got to talk about Sacktown coming back and playing the Warriors at Chase. All that's coming up, and maybe we'll hear from the Outsiders as well. They're pretty cool. All that coming up on Postgame Live, presented by Toyota.
This Sportsnet Central update is presented by Atlantis Casino Resort Reno.
What's up, everybody? Kyle Draper and Katie Hunter getting you ready for Kings Warriors on Monday. Time for the Sportsnet Central update. Katie, what needs to happen for the Kings come Monday?
I think most importantly, the Kings need to focus on putting that second half in Houston behind them. Obviously not a good half for them, scored just 30 points. And look at the film, take what you need from it, and then put it behind you because you have everything you need to go into Golden State and play very well against this Warriors team and come out with a win. Obviously, Steph Curry is someone that they are going to have to face and take on. Draymond Green adds a new wrinkle to the whole situation. But the Kings are going to be just fine if they can get back to doing what they had done a little bit earlier at the start of the season. Move the ball, play good defense, and we'll see what they're able to do against the Warriors at Golden State.
Yeah, it should be a good one. The rivalry renewed. Coverage begins 1 hour before a tip-off on NBC Sports Bay Area.